Good evening, and welcome. As the world outside gently quiets, allow yourself to settle in, finding a comfortable space to unwind. Tonight, we embark on a journey not through physical distance, but through the vast expanse of time itself. There's no need to stay awake. Indeed, the purpose of our shared experience is to guide you towards tranquil slumber. Feel free to drift off whenever the whisper of the past becomes too soft, whenever my voice lulls you into peaceful rest. Imagine, if you will, the slow, deliberate turning of the earth, carrying us back thousands of years, to a landscape painted in the hues of a setting sun. Observe now from a safe, timeless distance. The air around you begins to shift, warmer, drier, infused with the ancient scent of baked earth and distant wood smoke. We hover just above the horizon of Mesopotamia as golden light of late afternoon softens, stretching long, benevolent shadows across a land that cradled one of humanity's earliest and most magnificent civilizations, ancient Babylon. Watch as the sun, a colossal ember, dips lower, casting an almost liquid gold over the vast plain. The very air seems to shimmer with a memory of the day's heat, slowly releasing its grip. Before us, the grand silhouette of the city emerges, not a bustling metropolis, but a monumental presence bathed in this extraordinary light. The colossal mud brick walls, renowned throughout the ancient world, gleam with earthy red, catching the final, fiery kiss of the sun. These are not cold, grey structures, but living walls, imbued with the warmth of countless days, shaped from the very soil beneath our feet. Listen now, for the subtle symphony of an ancient evening. The harsh glare of noon has faded, taking with it the sharpest cries of the marketplace. What remains are gentler sounds, the far-off bleating of a goat, perhaps, or the soft, rhythmic creak of a water wheel drawing precious liquid from a nearby canal. Hear the distant murmur of voices, a collective hum as families gather. A quiet splash might ripple from the unseen Euphrates, the lifeblood of this land, as a weary boatman secures his craft for the night. Inhale deeply, and imagine the unique perfumes of this ancient world. The dry, mineral scent of sun-baked clay mingles with the earthy fragrance of the Euphrates, a river that has flowed through countless civilizations. Perhaps a faint wisp of smoke drifts on the cooling breeze, carrying the scent of burning reeds or animal dung used for cooking fires, a primal, comforting aroma that signals the preparing of the evening meal. Though we are merely observers, a sense of the coarse mud brick, the dusty pathways, the dry air, might brush against your imagination. As the light continues its slow descent, the city of Babylon itself seems to exhale, settling into its evening rhythm. The mighty ziggurat, Etemenanke, dedicated to Marduk, rises majestically against the deepening azure sky, its terraced levels catching the last vestiges of light, transforming from fiery orange to a deep, royal purple. It stands as a silent sentinel, a monumental staircase to the heavens, a testament to the aspirations and beliefs of a people long turned to dust. Everywhere, the rectangular outlines of homes, crafted from earth, begin to soften, flat roofs soon peppered with the first twinkling stars. Picture the slow, unhurried movements of people within the city's embrace. Figures become silhouettes against glowing doorways, perhaps drawing water or tending a small garden. Day's burdens are laid down, preparing for night's brief respite. There is no frantic rush here, only the steady, ancient cadence of life, as it has been lived for centuries. Children's laughter, which might have rung out boisterously in the day's heat, now softens to quiet chatter, a gentle counterpoint to the growing stillness. The sky overhead deepens further, a canvas shifting from amber to rose, then to profound indigo. One by one, small, flickering lights appear within the city's grid, the gentle glow of oil lamps, casting dancing shadows upon interior walls. Each tiny flame is a beacon of human warmth, a promise of shelter, and a fleeting moment of peace. The stars, ancient and unblinking, slowly reveal themselves, first as pinpricks, then as a vast, shimmering tapestry across the Mesopotamian sky, exactly as they did for the Babylonians thousands of years ago. Allow this ancient, gentle glow to envelop you now. Feel the calm of this timeless evening settle deep within your own being. The worries of your day, like Babylon's harsh noon light, are receding, drifting into the vast distance of the past. You are safe, warm, and held within the soft embrace of this ancient twilight. There is nothing left to do but breathe, simply be, and allow the quiet whispers of history to guide you gently, effortlessly, towards a deep and restoring sleep. Let the soft, earthy warmth of this long-ago evening carry you, ever deeper, into the profound stillness of the night. As the soft echoes of the ancient city's evening fade, and the deep, silent hours of Babylonian night gently release their hold, a different kind of stirring begins. Imagine, if you will, the subtle shift from the profound darkness within your simple, mud-brick home. There is no sudden jolt, no insistent clang or electronic chime to pull you from the depths of sleep. Instead, the awakening is gradual, organic, born from the very rhythms of the natural world that governs all life here. Perhaps the first sign is a change in the air itself. The cool, still breath of the deepest night, heavy with the scent of damp earth and distant river reeds, begins to lighten. A faint, almost imperceptible warmth starts to press against the thick, insulating walls, hinting at the sun's inevitable ascent even before its golden rays have touched the horizon. You are lying on a simple woven mat, perhaps of palm fibers or reeds, spread directly upon the packed earth floor. Above you, a thin woolen blanket, hand-spun and practical, offers little resistance to the coolness that lingers just before dawn. The texture is rough against your skin, a humble comfort, a world away from the soft, layered fabrics of today. Listen for a moment, and you might catch the very first sounds that herald the new day. Not the roar of engines or the distant murmur of 1,000 conversations, but something far more elemental. Perhaps the soft rustle of a date palm fronds in a courtyard nearby, stirred by a gentle pre-dawn breeze. Then, the almost melodic bleating of a goat or the lowing of a cow from a neighbor's small enclosure, their own internal clocks nudging them awake. The distant, rhythmic clop 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 of a donkey's hooves on a dusty street, carrying its first load of goods to market, slowly draws closer, then fades again. These are the gentle instruments of Babylon's waking symphony. As the sky outside begins to lighten from an inky indigo to a soft, dusty violet, a sliver of dawn's glow might find its way into your home. It doesn't stream through a large glass window, for such luxuries are unknown. Instead, it might filter through a doorway left slightly ajar, or perhaps a small, high opening in the mud-brick wall, designed more for ventilation than for views. The light that enters is not bright and sharp, but diffused, warm, and imbued with the ochre hues of the earth itself. It paints the rough, uneven surfaces of your home in soft shadows, revealing the simple pottery jars stacked in a corner, the woven baskets, and the tools of daily life leaning against the wall. With the light comes a subtle shift in temperature. The air, still holding the last vestiges of night's coolness, begins to carry the first hint of the coming day's heat. You might stretch slowly, feeling the stiffness in your limbs from the unyielding mat beneath you. There's no soft mattress to sink into, no warm bath waiting. Your morning ablutions are a more deliberate, more physical affair. You would rise, perhaps gathering a small, unglazed clay pitcher, and step out into the barely lit courtyard or onto the quiet street. The ground beneath your bare feet is cool, dusty earth, a sensory connection to the very foundations of this ancient world. To cleanse oneself, water must be fetched. Perhaps from a communal well, a shared point of life-giving liquid, where you might exchange a silent nod with a neighbor already at their task. Or, if your home is closer to the great Euphrates itself, its slow, majestic current a constant presence in the life of the city. Imagine the feeling of the cool, slightly silty water, drawn from the deep, against your skin as you splash it gently over your face and hands. No fragrant soaps, no polished mirrors, just the refreshing, natural coolness, washing away the last remnants of sleep and the dust of the night. It is a simple, profound ritual, connecting you directly to the lifeblood of this land. Dressing is similarly straightforward. Your garments would be practical and light, perhaps a simple tunic of rough linen or wool, hand-woven and durable. The fabric would feel coarse but honest against your skin, designed for comfort in the relentless heat and for ease of movement during a day of toil. There are no intricate fastenings, no multitude of layers, simplicity is key. As you prepare, you might hear the gentle thump-thump of a mortar and pestle from a nearby home, as someone begins the arduous task of grinding grain for the day's flatbread, or the distant, sweet-sour scent of fermenting barley from a local brewery begins to drift on the breeze. These are the smells of life, of sustenance, of the ancient morning. Stepping fully out of your dwelling and into the growing light of the Babylonian morning, you are met with the full symphony of the waking city. The sun, now a brilliant disk climbing steadily above the eastern horizon, already begins to cast long, sharp shadows, promising another day of intense warmth. The sounds grow louder, the insistent chatter of sparrows nesting in the eaves, the hawkers' first tentative calls as they set out their wares, the low murmur of conversations as families begin their day. The air is dry, already carrying the fine, ever-present dust of the desert, mingled with the earthy scent of the river and the faint aroma of wood smoke from communal ovens. There are no quick, convenient breakfasts here, no steaming mugs of coffee or elaborate meals. Perhaps a piece of leftover flatbread from the previous day, cool and firm, dipped in a little oil, or a handful of sweet, sticky dates. It is a humble sustenance, taken quickly, providing just enough energy for the demanding tasks that lie ahead. This is a world without the myriad comforts we take for granted, a life lived in intimate contact with the earth, the sun, and the rhythms of a demanding, yet profoundly simple, existence. Now, as the imagined sun of ancient Babylon climbs higher, filling the sky with its golden light and the air with the gentle hum of a waking world, allow yourself to drift back. Feel the soft, familiar comfort of your own bed, the quiet stillness of your own space. Let the distant sounds of that ancient morning fade, leaving only a sense of calm and a deep, peaceful readiness for your own gentle rest. As the initial freshness of dawn, that brief, cool whisper across the rooftops of ancient Uruk, begins to yield, the sun, a persistent and ancient deity, starts its slow, deliberate climb. Feel its first rays, not yet harsh, but a promise of the formidable heat to come, gently warming the baked earth beneath your bare feet. The city, still shaking off the last vestiges of night's cool embrace, now stirs with a different kind of energy, a quiet, purposeful hum that signifies the commencement of the day's labor. Listen for a moment to the distant, rhythmic thud 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 that drifts on the nascent breeze. It is the call of the clay brick, beckoning the workers to their daily task. Imagine yourself standing on the edge of a vast, flat expanse, just beyond the city walls. Here, the very earth is transformed into the building blocks of empire. The air is already growing thick with the scent of damp soil and the subtle, earthy aroma of straw and reeds. Nearby, a network of narrow irrigation channels, fed by the life-giving waters of the Euphrates, glistens under the strengthening sun, ready to quench the thirst of the thirsty land, and just as importantly, to provide the vital ingredient for the day's work. You see figures, bending low, their movements a slow, practiced ballet. They are digging, churning, and mixing, their hands and feet working the rich, dark soil with water and chopped straw, kneading it into a thick, pliable mud. The sound is a soft, squelching symphony, the rhythmic slop of water meeting earth, the sticky pull of mud, the gentle grunts of effort. As the morning progresses, the process shifts. The perfectly pliable mud, now a uniform, weighty mass, is pressed firmly into wooden molds. Feel the cool, damp weight of the mixture as it's packed in, filling every corner. Then, with a practiced flick, the mold is lifted, revealing a perfectly formed, wet brick, lying vulnerable and glistening on the ground. Row after row, thousands upon thousands of these raw, earthy rectangles begin to line the sun-drenched fields, like sleeping soldiers awaiting their destiny. The air takes on the subtle perfume of drying earth, a scent that is the very essence of Babylon. The sun, now a golden weight in the sky, begins its relentless work, drawing out the moisture, baking the clay until it transforms from soft mud into a solid, enduring block. Dust motes dance in the strong light, shimmering around the diligent figures, creating a hazy, almost dreamlike quality to the scene of industrious activity. It is not only the brickmakers who feel the pull of the day's demanding rhythm. Further afield, along the meandering riverbanks, you might glimpse farmers, their backs stooped against the rising heat, tending to their fields of barley or wheat. The gentle murmur of irrigation water as it flows through carefully constructed channels provides a constant backdrop to their quiet labor, nourishing the very crops that sustain the city. Perhaps you would hear the soft, insistent buzz of bees around the date palms, heavy with their sweet, sticky fruit, whose cultivation demands endless patience and a deep understanding of the land. The sounds of distant chatter and the occasional bleat of a goat or the lowing of cattle mingle with the pervasive hum of human endeavor, all under the unwavering gaze of the sun. The day's toil is a collective endeavor, a testament to the sheer physical effort required to build and maintain a civilization in this fertile but challenging land. From the loading of heavy baskets of mud to the careful stacking of newly dried bricks, from the constant repair of irrigation dikes to the meticulous tending of crops, every task demands strength, endurance, and a profound respect for the elements. The unyielding sun is a constant companion, its heat pressing down, causing sweat to trickle, coating the skin with a fine film of dust and effort. There is no haste, but rather a slow, deliberate persistence, a steady rhythm born of necessity and generations of practice. The work continues, hour after hour, a quiet symphony of human effort intertwined with the natural world, each movement contributing to the enduring strength and prosperity of the great city. As the sun climbs towards its zenith, its golden light now a brilliant, almost blinding glare, imagine the deep satisfaction in the quiet accomplishments of the morning. Feel the warmth of the earth beneath you, the steady rhythm of the world turning, and allow the gentle echoes of ancient labor to slowly recede. Let the soft, persistent hum of the distant work fade into a tranquil silence as you settle deeper into a feeling of peaceful repose, knowing that for now, the demands of the day are far, far away. As the sun begins its slow descent, painting the distant ziggurat in hues of fiery orange and soft violet, a quiet rumble may stir within you. The day of unyielding toil, under the relentless gaze of the Mesopotamian sky, draws to a close, and with it, the promise of sustenance. Forget, for a moment, the bustling markets of your own time, overflowing with exotic fruits and endless choices. Here, in ancient Babylon, the evening meal is a study in necessity, a lesson in savoring the scarcity, and a testament to the ingenuity of a people who coaxed life from fertile but demanding lands. Imagine the air, now cooling slightly, carrying the earthy scent of baking hearths, a pervasive perfume across the city. The true heart of your Babylonian plate, the tireless sustainer, is barley. It is everywhere, in countless forms, the very foundation of daily life. Picture the rough-hewn grinding stones, the rhythmic back-and-forth motion that transforms the golden grains into flour, a labor often undertaken by the women of the household in the cooler hours. This flour, mixed simply with water, perhaps a touch of salt from the distant salt marshes, is shaped into flatbreads. They are not the airy loaves you might know, but dense, substantial discs, baked on heated stones or in simple clay ovens, their surfaces often charred just so, imparting a subtle, smoky flavor. Feel, in your mind's eye, the warmth radiating from a fresh piece, its texture coarse yet comforting, offering a profound sense of nourishment with each bite. Accompanying this staple, there might be a modest stew, slow-cooked in a humble clay pot over a low fire. Listen for a moment to the gentle bubbling, the whisper of steam escaping, as lentils or chickpeas soften, their earthy aroma beginning to mingle with the evening air. These legumes, vital sources of protein in a diet where meat is a rare luxury for most, are often seasoned simply with what is readily available, perhaps wild onions, pungent garlic, or the fresh, grassy notes of leeks harvested from nearby gardens. Occasionally, if fortune favors, or if one lives near the life-giving Euphrates, a small, dried fish might be added, contributing its briny essence to the communal pot. The preparation is simple, unhurried, a practiced rhythm of daily survival, each ingredient chosen for its ability to sustain, to provide energy for another demanding day. For a touch of sweetness, a handful of dates, sun-ripened jewels from the ubiquitous palm groves, might complete your meal. Imagine their sticky sweetness, a natural candy, a concentrated burst of energy and pleasure, each pitted fruit a small, precious gift from the desert's edge. These are not merely treats but significant nutritional components, offering vital sugars and fiber. The act of eating itself is unadorned. There is no clatter of metal utensils here, only the gentle, rhythmic sounds of simple sustenance. Your fingers are your tools, dipping into the communal bowl of stew, tearing off pieces of warm flatbread to scoop up the nourishing mixture. It is a shared experience, often taken with family or close companions, a moment of quiet communion after the day's exertions. The pace is slow, each mouthful savored, not because of gourmet delight, but because each calorie is understood to be hard-won, a precious commodity in a world without excess. Accompanying your meal, a cool draught of water, drawn from the Euphrates or a well, is essential, its coolness a balm after the day's heat. And for many, especially after a day of labor, a bowl of thick, nutritious barley beer would also be present. This ancient brew, often more gruel-like than the clear liquid we know today, was a significant source of calories and nutrients, a safe and commonplace beverage in a world where water purity could be uncertain. Imagine its rich, slightly sour taste, a comforting weight in your stomach, contributing to a feeling of deep satisfaction. This humble plate, then, is not merely food, it is a profound connection to the land, to the tireless work of cultivation, to the very cycle of life and death in the Fertile Crescent. It is a meal born of necessity, sustained by simplicity, and enriched by gratitude. Each mouthful is not merely food, but a testament to survival, a humble blessing received with a quiet appreciation that transcends the fleeting pleasures of elaborate cuisine. Allow the gentle warmth of this simple meal to spread through you, a deep, abiding comfort, easing the day's fatigue and settling you into a profound sense of peace. Let the memory of this ancient sustenance lull you, its quiet satisfaction a soft blanket around your thoughts, inviting a deep and tranquil rest. As the sun climbs higher over the horizon of ancient Babylon, its warmth intensifies, painting the world in hues of ochre and gold. You might find yourself feeling the parched dryness in your throat, a quiet reminder of the day's burgeoning heat. The air itself feels ancient, carrying the scent of baked earth and distant dust, and the need for cool, refreshing water becomes a gentle, persistent whisper in your mind. Imagine this sensation, not as an urgent demand, but as a slow, unfolding awareness, an echo of a fundamental need shared by every soul in this sprawling, sun-drenched city. Listen for a moment to the distant, murmuring heartbeat of Babylon. Beyond the low thrum of daily life, there is another sound, a deep, pervasive presence that shapes every aspect of existence here, the grand Euphrates River. It is the very lifeblood of this land, a vast, wide ribbon of water, often thick with the silt it carries from distant mountains, yet endlessly generous. This isn't the crystal-clear mountain spring of a cooler land, this is a river of life in a hot, fertile plain, bringing with it both sustenance and the perpetual challenge of its management. To quench your thirst, your journey, or perhaps the journey of someone in your household, would begin with this river. Picture the well-worn paths leading down to its banks, smoothed by countless bare feet and the dragging of heavy water jars. You might see figures moving with a steady, rhythmic gait, men and women carrying large, bulbous clay amphorae on their shoulders or balanced on their heads, their forms silhouetted against the shimmering expanse of water. The air near the river is subtly different, cooler, carrying the faint, earthy scent of damp reeds and the soft, lapping sound of the current against the muddy bank. Perhaps a small, sturdy boat, a guffer made of reeds and bitumen, drifts lazily downstream, adding to the gentle symphony of the river. But not everyone needed to walk directly to the mighty Euphrates. The ingenuity of the Babylonians meant that the river's bounty was coaxed closer to the city, woven into the very fabric of urban life through an intricate network of canals. These canals, some wide enough for small barges, others mere trickles designed to irrigate lush gardens, branched off the main river, bringing its life-giving flow directly into neighborhoods and closer to homes. Imagine standing by a smaller canal, the water moving with a slower, more deliberate pace, perhaps hearing the creak of a simple water-lifting device, as someone patiently raises water for their crops or into a settling pool. The sound is a gentle, rhythmic squeak and splash, a testament to persistent human effort. Once the water was drawn, it wasn't simply drunk directly from the river. The Euphrates, while vital, carried much more than just water. It was thick with fertile silt, essential for the fields, but less desirable for drinking. The water would often be poured into large, porous clay jars, known as pithoi or smaller drinking vessels, and allowed to settle. Imagine the sight, rows of these large, earthenware jars, their surfaces slightly damp from the slow, natural process of evaporation that kept the water inside surprisingly cool, even on the hottest day. You might run your hand over the cool, slightly grainy surface of the clay, feeling the subtle chill emanating from within. The water, after hours of settling, would yield a clearer liquid, though perhaps never completely free of the river's rich, earthy character. The act of drinking was a deliberate one, a moment of profound gratitude. You might carefully ladle the settled water into a small, unglazed cup, feeling its weight in your hand. As you bring it to your lips, the first sip is not just a relief from thirst, it is a connection to the very pulse of Babylon. It tastes of the earth, of the river, of the ancient struggle and triumph of human ingenuity against the relentless sun. It is cool, not icy cold, but deeply refreshing, washing away the dryness, a quiet blessing on a warm day. This careful management of water was not just about survival, it was about thriving. The very existence of Babylon, its magnificent walls, its bustling markets, its vibrant gardens, all depended on this constant flow, on the constant vigilance against both scarcity and excess. The river could be a giver of life, but also, if not respected, a bringer of flood or disease. Yet, these dangers are but distant echoes, a part of the ancient wisdom of this place, understood and managed with the tools and knowledge of the time. As the sun begins its slow descent, and the golden light softens into the warm glow of evening, the memory of that thirst and the profound relief of quenching it lingers. The gentle murmur of the Euphrates, whether heard directly or imagined in the distant gurgle of a canal, becomes a calming presence. Let the thoughts of this ancient river, this giver of life, flow through your mind like its gentle current, carrying away any lingering worries, leaving you with a sense of peace and deep, ancient tranquility. Now, let your thoughts drift further, carried on the gentle currents of time, back to a deeper understanding of this ancient world. For in Babylon, life was not merely a series of days, but a grand, unfolding drama dictated by the most powerful forces imaginable, the sun above and the vast, nurturing embrace of the Euphrates River below. Imagine, for a moment, how deeply intertwined your existence would be with these rhythms, how every breath, every meal, every moment of work or rest, was a direct consequence of their dominion. As winter's gentle coolness began to wane, a subtle shift would ripple through the land. Far to the north, in the distant mountains of Anatolia, the snows would begin their slow, majestic melt. This wasn't just a change in temperature, it was the harbinger of life itself, the annual promise of renewal. The mighty Euphrates, which had flowed with a steady, tranquil grace through the cooler months, would begin to swell. Listen closely in your mind's ear for the low, growing murmur of the river, a sound that would grow from a whisper to a soft, persistent hum as its waters rose. This was the famous flood, not a chaotic deluge, but a benevolent, carefully managed gift. Its rich, silty waters, thick with the nutrients of distant lands, would be coaxed into an intricate network of canals, patiently dug and meticulously maintained over generations. You would feel the humidity in the air increase, a soft, damp warmth settling over the vast plains, a precursor to the vibrant green that would soon carpet the landscape. This was the season of planting, a time of hopeful anticipation, where every grain of barley or wheat sown into the freshly irrigated, dark earth held the promise of future sustenance. The very air would smell of damp soil, of new growth pushing through the surface, a scent ancient and deeply comforting. But then, as the spring planting gave way to the burgeoning growth, the sun would begin its relentless ascent, reclaiming its full dominion. Imagine the sky above Babylon, a vast, unbroken expanse of brilliant, almost blinding blue. The days would stretch out, long and hot, the sun a fiery orb that beat down with an intensity that demanded respect and adaptation. The waters of the Euphrates, having done their initial work of fertilization, would recede slightly, settling back into their main channels, leaving the fields dependent on the careful hands of the farmers. This was the season of constant vigilance, of endless irrigation. Picture the slow, rhythmic dip and rise of the ****, a simple but ingenious water-lifting device, its counterweight creaking softly as water was drawn from the canals and poured onto the thirsty fields. Feel the fine dust under your bare feet, warmed by the sun, and seek the precious shade cast by a date palm or a thick adobe wall. Life would slow to a deliberate pace during the hottest hours, with activity shifting to the cooler mornings and evenings, a wisdom born of necessity and centuries of living under this powerful sun. The air would shimmer above the baked earth, creating mirages that danced on the horizon, yet the persistent efforts of the people, guided by the sun's demanding warmth, coaxed life from the soil. As the intensity of summer began its slow, almost imperceptible retreat, a new sense of purpose would energize the city. This was the harvest season, the culmination of all the tireless work, the fulfillment of the spring's promise. The fields, once verdant, would now glow with a rich, golden hue, heavy with ripe barley and wheat. Listen for the soft, swishing sound of sickles cutting through stalks, a steady, rhythmic cadence across the plains. Smell the dry, sweet scent of grain, of chaff mingling with the dust, as the precious kernels were gathered and threshed. It was a time of immense effort, but also of deep satisfaction, of communal labor leading to shared bounty. The cooler evenings would bring a welcome respite, a time for quiet celebration and the careful storage of the year's yield, ensuring survival through the leaner months. And then, the cycle would gently turn once more towards winter. The sun, though still present, would lose some of its fierce intensity, casting longer, softer shadows. The air would grow crisp, and while true cold was rare, a pleasant coolness would settle over the land. The Euphrates, now at its lowest ebb, would flow with a quiet dignity, its waters clear and calm. This was a time for reflection, for repair and maintenance of the irrigation systems, for indoor crafts and the quiet hum of domestic life. Perhaps a rare, gentle rain shower would fall, a soft patter on the clay roofs, bringing a fleeting freshness to the air. The nights would be long and clear, perfect for gazing at the star-dusted sky, the same constellations that watched over the builders of Babylon. So, you see, the rhythm of life in ancient Babylon was not merely a passage of days, but an intimate dance with these colossal forces, the life-giving, sometimes demanding, Euphrates, and the ever-present, all-powerful sun. Every season brought its unique challenges and its unique gifts, shaping the very fabric of their existence, creating a deep, enduring connection to the natural world. Allow yourself to feel the gentle sway of these ancient seasons, the slow, predictable turning of the year, carrying you softly into a deeper state of calm. The last fiery blush has long since faded from the western horizon, and now, a deep, velvety indigo begins to drape itself over the city of Babylon. The air, which held the sun's relentless heat throughout the day, starts to soften, growing cooler with each passing moment, carrying with it a new symphony of evening scents and sounds. Imagine, for a moment, standing at the threshold of a simple mud-brick dwelling, feeling the day's stored warmth slowly release from the thick walls, a gentle, comforting heat against your back as you gaze out into the ancient night. The harsh glare of the sun is gone, replaced by the soft, diffused glow of a myriad of stars, each one a diamond scattered across the vast, ink-black canvas above. There is no electric hum, no distant rumble of traffic, only the profound quiet that settles over a world unburdened by modern clamor. Listen closely, and you might begin to distinguish the distinct whispers of the ancient night. Perhaps the rustle of dry reeds down by the distant Euphrates, carried on a faint breeze that brings with it the cool, damp scent of the river. Or the soft, rhythmic chirp of crickets, a steady percussion against the backdrop of silence, seemingly more vibrant in the absence of other noise. From within the homes, you might perceive a faint, flickering light, the soft, amber glow of sesame oil lamps, carefully tended, casting long, dancing shadows upon the packed earth floors and simple woven mats. This light, so precious and hard-won, gathers families together, drawing them into a close circle of shared warmth and quiet conversation. The day's toil, with its demands of brickmaking and field working, recedes into memory, replaced by the hushed cadence of storytelling, perhaps, or the gentle murmur of parents reassuring their children as the darkness truly sets in. The air now carries the lingering aroma of evening meals, perhaps the faint, savory scent of cooked grains, or a trace of roasted fish from the river. Wood smoke, thin and ethereal, curls from distant hearths, adding its own earthy perfume to the atmosphere, a testament to the simple domestic rituals that unfold across the city. You might feel a pleasant coolness begin to seep into the air, a welcome relief after the long, baking day, inviting a simple woolen wrap or a closer huddle for warmth as the night deepens. For the ancient Babylonian, the night was a realm of profound transformation. Without the widespread artificial light we know, the darkness was truly dark, making the stars appear with an astonishing brilliance that our modern eyes rarely witness. One might look up and feel a deep connection to the cosmos, perhaps identifying familiar constellations, patterns that guided not only farmers and sailors but also provided a sense of order in an often challenging world. Yet, with this beauty came a quiet awareness. The sturdy mud brick walls of one's home and the communal gate of the city offered a sense of security, for the world outside the immediate circle of lamplight held its own mysteries, its own occasional dangers, best considered from a safe, warm distance. You might hear a distant dog bark, its sound echoing clearly across the hushed city, a momentary break in the quiet before the stillness returns. Or perhaps the call of an owl from the palm groves beyond the city walls. These are the natural sounds of an ancient world, a lullaby woven from the elements themselves. The worries of the day, the success of the harvest, the fairness of a transaction, the health of a loved one might still linger at the edges of consciousness, but in the gentle embrace of the evening, within the protective walls of home, they soften, becoming less urgent, more distant. The preparation for sleep was simple, unadorned. Perhaps a mat unrolled on the floor, a thin blanket of woven wool, and a small, crescent-shaped headrest. The day's exertions would ensure a deep and immediate slumber. As the lamp is carefully extinguished, plunging the room into true darkness, the last remaining sensory input might be the comforting rhythm of a loved one's breathing, or the lingering scent of earth and faint wood smoke. The ancient night enfolds the city, a vast, silent blanket under which Babylon slowly drifts to rest. All is quiet, all is still, as the timeless cycle of night gently embraces the land, promising the eventual return of a new dawn, but for now, only peace. The sun, that relentless taskmaster, finally begins its slow descent, painting the western sky with hues of ochre and deep rose. The long, arduous day, filled with the heft of clay bricks and the demanding rhythm of the fields, starts to recede into memory. Your muscles ache, your skin is gritty with the dust of the city, but a quiet anticipation begins to stir within you. This is the precious window, the fleeting interlude, when the harsh demands of survival momentarily loosen their grip. Imagine for a moment the shift in the air. The intense heat of the day gradually gives way to a gentle coolness, a blessed relief that washes over your weary body as you make your way back through the labyrinthine streets. The scent of cooking fires, subtle at first, grows stronger, mingling with the earthy fragrance of sun-baked mud brick and the distant, metallic tang of the great river. As you approach your humble dwelling, perhaps a simple, single-room home shared with family, the clamor of the main thoroughfare softens, replaced by the more intimate sounds of evening, the distant bleating of a goat, the low murmur of voices from a neighboring courtyard, the happy, unrestrained laughter of children at play. Even in ancient Babylon, children found their moments of joy. Picture them, perhaps, in the fading light, chasing each other through narrow alleys or playing with simple toys, a carved wooden animal, a smooth river stone, or a ball made of wrapped cloth. Their high-pitched calls and delighted shrieks are a timeless sound, a reminder of innocence and resilience amidst the daily grind. Can you hear their joy echoing softly in the cooling air? As the last sliver of the sun dips below the horizon, plunging the city into a deepening twilight, small oil lamps begin to flicker to life, casting warm, dancing shadows within homes. This is when the subtle arts of recreation emerge, not as grand spectacles, but as quiet, shared moments. Listen carefully, and you might catch the delicate plucking of a lyre from a wealthier household, its gentle notes carried on the breeze, or the soft, rhythmic tapping of a small hand drum. Music, even in its simplest form, offered a balm to the soul, a temporary escape from the weariness of the world. Gathering with family, perhaps on woven mats spread across the cool earthen floor of your home or in a small, enclosed courtyard, was another cherished respite. Here, under the watchful gaze of the rising stars, stories would unfold. The Babylonians were master storytellers, passing down epic tales of gods and heroes, of creation and destruction, generation after generation. Imagine the flicker of the oil lamp illuminating the storyteller's face, the hushed attention of the listeners, as ancient myths, perhaps even fragments of the great epic of Gilgamesh, came alive in the evening air. These narratives were more than mere entertainment, they were the threads that wove a community together, imparting wisdom, history, and a shared understanding of their place in the vast, often bewildering cosmos. For those seeking a quieter challenge, there were games. The royal game of yore, a sophisticated board game enjoyed by both commoners and kings, might be carefully laid out. Its intricate wooden board, adorned with rosettes and patterns, would be placed between players. Feel the smooth, cool weight of the pyramidal dice in your hand, the gentle click as you cast them, the focused concentration as you strategically move your shell or stone game pieces. It was a game of both luck and skill, a delightful distraction that sharpened the mind and offered a peaceful contest after a day of physical labor. And, of course, there was the communal act of sharing a meal. While the humble Babylonian plate we discussed earlier might not have been lavish, the act of breaking bread, or rather, flatbread, together was paramount. Imagine a simple stew, perhaps of lentils or barley, scooped from a common pot, fresh bread torn and shared, and cups of refreshing beer, a staple of Babylonian life, passed around. The quiet murmur of conversation, the shared laughter over a small jest, the warmth of human connection, these were the vital nourishments for the spirit, as essential as the food itself. As the moon climbed higher, casting its silvery glow over the city, many Babylonians would turn their gaze upwards. The night sky, unobstructed by the pervasive light pollution of our modern world, would have been a breathtaking spectacle. For the Babylonians, it was also a cosmic calendar, a divine tapestry. They charted the movements of stars and planets with meticulous care, believing these celestial bodies held clues to their destiny and the will of the gods. Imagine lying back, perhaps on a rooftop during the warmer months, feeling the cool night air on your skin, and simply observing the countless pinpricks of light against the velvet blackness. A profound sense of wonder, perhaps even a sense of connection to something vast and eternal, would settle over you. These moments of rest and recreation were not grand luxuries, but rather small, precious oases in a life often defined by struggle. They were the brief, essential breaths taken between one demanding day and the next, allowing the body to recover, the mind to wander, and the spirit to find a measure of peace. They underscore the resilience of the human spirit, its innate need for connection, for story, for beauty, even amidst the most challenging circumstances. Now, as the ancient Babylonian night deepens around you, and the last flickering lamps within our imagined city begin to dim, let the gentle sounds of this bygone era lull you into a profound stillness. Feel the quiet contentment that comes after a day's work, the simple satisfaction of shared moments, and the serene wonder of a starlit sky. Let your own mind drift away from any lingering thoughts of the day, finding comfort in the quiet rhythms of the past, and allowing yourself to sink into a deep, restorative sleep. As the last embers of the day begin to cool, and the city's gentle hum softens into a whisper, imagine for a moment the quiet anxieties that might have settled upon a Babylonian household. Life, though rich in daily rhythms, was also fraught with unseen challenges, for the human body, then as now, was a delicate vessel, susceptible to the world around it. The relentless sun, the ever-present dust carried by the winds from the vast plains, and the very waters that sustained life, all could, at times, turn against the fragile health of an individual. Close your eyes and listen for a moment, not to the distant murmur of modern life, but to the soft, imagined sounds of ancient Babylon at rest. Perhaps a persistent cough breaks the evening stillness from a nearby dwelling, or the low moan of someone restless with a fever. In a world without the rapid remedies we now take for granted, seeking solace from ailments was a profound and often communal endeavor. When illness took hold, a Babylonian might first turn to the **Asu**, the physician, a healer whose knowledge was rooted in the careful observation of plants and the practical application of remedies. Picture a quiet courtyard, bathed in the soft glow of an oil lamp, where an **Asu** meticulously grinds dried herbs with a smooth pestle and mortar. You can almost catch the earthy, slightly bitter scent of crushed poppy seeds, perhaps, known even then for their soothing properties, or the sharp, clean aroma of willow bark, prepared to ease a fevered brow. Imagine the delicate touch of their fingers as they prepare a poultice from moistened clay and pungent leaves, pressing it gently onto an aching limb or a wound. These were the moments of quiet care, of a hand-woven linen bandage carefully applied, of a warm herbal infusion offered to soothe a troubled stomach. The **Asu** would observe, diagnose based on visible symptoms, the color of the skin, the nature of the cough, the clarity of the eyes, and offer what comfort and practical healing they could, often prescribing rest, dietary adjustments, or washes with clean water, a precious commodity. Yet, beyond the physical realm, the Babylonians also understood that unseen forces could play a role in health. Fevers that flared without warning, pains that migrated through the body, or spirits that seemed to dim for no apparent reason, were often attributed to the mischievous work of demons, the anger of gods, or the breaking of taboos. For these deeper, more mysterious afflictions, one would seek the wisdom of the **Ashipu**, the exorcist priest. Visualize now a different scene, still calm and comforting, but infused with a sense of ancient reverence. Perhaps in a hushed room, lit only by flickering lamps, the **Ashipu** sits, eyes closed, whispering incantations in the ancient Akkadian tongue. The air might be thick with a sweet, smoky scent of burning incense, myrrh or frankincense, believed to purify the space and appease the deities. Feel the gentle warmth radiating from a small brazier. Here, healing was a dialogue with the divine, a careful negotiation for well-being. Amulets, carved from stone or shaped from clay, might be placed near the afflicted, their intricate symbols believed to ward off malevolent spirits. Rituals involving water drawn from the sacred river, or small offerings laid before a clay figurine, were all part of this intricate tapestry of care. It was a holistic approach, where the body, mind, and spirit were seen as interconnected, each needing attention. Even basic hygiene, though not understood in the modern sense of germ theory, held its own importance. The daily washes, the changing of simple garments, the efforts to keep living spaces free of refuse, these were acts of preservation, born from observation and perhaps an intuitive understanding that a cleaner environment offered some protection. The challenges were immense, the scarcity of truly clean water, the constant threat of dust and insects, and the lack of sophisticated medical tools. Childbirth, for instance, was a perilous journey, a testament to the resilience and vulnerability of life itself in this ancient world. But in these moments of seeking solace, there was also a profound sense of human connection, a shared hope for recovery. The murmurs of support from family members, the gentle presence of the healer, the quiet trust placed in ancient wisdom, these were the threads that wove a protective cloak around the sick. It was a world where healing was slow, sometimes ineffective by our standards, but always steeped in profound belief and a deep desire for relief from suffering. As the imagined scene now fades, let the quiet strength of that ancient pursuit of wellness settle gently around you. Feel the lingering warmth of the imagined lamplight, the faint, calming scent of ancient herbs. Rest easy, knowing that even in a world so different from our own, the human heart sought comfort and healing with a universal longing, a quiet echo across the millennia. Allow these peaceful images to drift, carrying you softly into a deeper, more tranquil rest. And so, Our journey through the ancient world begins to softly draw to a close, a slow retreat from the dust-laden streets and the timeless rhythm of the Euphrates. Allow the vibrant tapestry of ancient Babylon, with its towering ziggurat and its sun-drenched courtyards, to gently loosen its hold, like sand sifting through your fingers. We have walked together through mornings that broke with the bray of donkeys and the scent of wood smoke, felt the unyielding sun on our skin as we imagined the daily toil, and tasted the humble fare that sustained a civilization built on ingenuity and sheer endurance. Remember the evening glow that first welcomed us, painting the vast city in hues of apricot and rose as the day's heat began its slow surrender? Let that gentle light now soften and fade, not into darkness, but into a comforting, diffused warmth that settles around you. The distant murmur of ancient voices, the clatter of pottery, the rhythmic thump of a weaver's loom, these sounds, so vivid just moments ago, now recede, becoming mere echoes in the vast corridors of time. Listen closely, and you might still catch the faint, sweet earthy scent of the clay bricks, warmed by 1,000 suns, mingling with the subtle aroma of dried dates and the fainter, sharper tang of spices from a distant market stall. But even these sensory threads begin to unravel, replaced by the quiet stillness of your own space. We have seen, from a safe and cozy distance, the immense challenges of a life lived without the myriad comforts we so readily embrace today. The relentless sun, the scarcity of clean water, the arduous labor that filled each waking hour, the vulnerability to ailments for which there were few remedies, save for the wisdom of the elders and the prayers to the gods. Imagine the simple relief of the evening, when the day's demands finally released their grip, and a rough reed mat, perhaps covered with a coarse wool blanket, offered the only respite from the hard-packed earth. It was a life of extraordinary resilience, a testament to the human spirit enduring under a relentless sky, constantly adapting, always striving. But that world, so rich in its stark reality, is now receding. The specific textures, the rough weave of a tunic, the cool smoothness of a pottery shard, the gritty feel of dust on bare feet, are dissolving into a more general, soothing sensation of peace. The calls of the street vendors, the distant splash of water drawn from the Euphrates, the rustle of papyrus in a scribe's hand, all these details, once so present, are now quiet whispers from a story told long ago. You are no longer there, imagining the dawn breaking over the great city walls, nor contemplating the simple luxury of a date palm shade. You are here, safe and warm, gently guided back from the vast sweep of history. Take a deep, soft breath, and let go of any lingering thoughts of the ancient world. The weight of its history, the grandeur of its achievements, the simple, profound struggles of its people, all can now settle into the quiet archives of your mind. We leave behind the challenges of the distant past, the constant vigilance required for survival, the very real dangers that lurked in the shadows of a city teeming with life. Those were the realities of a time long gone, a world so far removed from your own peaceful haven. Feel the gentle support beneath you now, the soft embrace of your own bed, the familiar contours of your own surroundings. The warmth you feel is no longer the oppressive heat of the Mesopotamian plain, but a gentle, comforting internal warmth, a sense of security that cradles you. The sounds you hear are no longer the echoes of an empire, but the soft, lulling quiet of your own resting place. The journey has ended, and the time for imagining is over. Let the final threads of ancient Babylon unravel completely, like smoke dispersing into a clear night sky. Drift now, freely and without effort. Let your thoughts quiet, your body relax. The ancient city sleeps in the dust of ages, and you are here, safe and sound. All is calm. All is peaceful. Sleep now. Sleep now. Sleep now.